Look at me, I'm crying, Ryan. I'm getting pissed.
Look at my psychrometer. I can't even read it. That's a shame. So we got these units here. They're set at 67 degrees, and they're not able to get the humidity down. Humidity is I don't know, because they're putting AstroTurf. You remember me saying that? Put AstroTurf in its big room. Here's the turf. Well, it has to be dry for that. They didn't install units with any kind of humidity control, so they just turned them down as far as they could go, hoping for the best. It is 67 degrees. We're gonna set this big giant unit, 15 tons or something like that. We're gonna set it down to 66. Oh, cool. The other unit, we're gonna set on heat, and we're gonna set it up to 75, maybe higher than 75. We'll see. It's a backward CD 0.1 degrees wet bulb in here, so that's insightful. Still has a good sensor in it though. So. Now this unit's heating, and that unit over there is cooling. Heating output 121,500 BTUs, so that is 10 tons of heat. Now this unit over here, tonnage 15. This is a 15-ton unit. So this big, huge unit will be able to completely defeat the heating power of this little unit. So this can sit here heating non-stop, constantly, and that unit over there will have no problem keeping up with the cooling demand. It's been running for a little while. It's only made it to 71 over here. With the knowledge that the big unit can completely defeat this unit, we're going to turn this right up to 86. So it never stops heating. We're here in this room, it's 70 degrees. Remember this unit? You know that video where I cried about mini splits for 15 minutes? Well, as you know, this is a gas furnace with a air conditioner hooked up to it. I noticed it's been unwired. The disconnect is off because it's got to get ripped out and replaced by a heat pump. Not just any heat pump. VRF ducted split system. This is all opened up now because they got to tear that thing out, replace it with a ducted mini split because it's above the sprinklers and it burns gas in a metal building. This is a 3-phase unit. See, we got 3 hots here. This is L3, and look what we got. 2 wires. They ripped out the 3-phase. It's single phase now. They're preparing for the VRF system. There's no more third leg. They can't run that compressor. So we got AHU1, 15 and 17 here. That's where they replaced this breaker with a 20 amp 2-pole to power the new mini split. And then down here we got CU1 where they drew this line because it used to be 3-phase. But now we've got 2-pole 40 hanging out right here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Those are both on phases 1 and 2. Here's our new 20 amp breaker. Nothing hooked to it. And our 40 amp that needs to move. These are screw-in breakers. I'm about to move that blue wire right there down to this 20 amp breaker for just a little bit, because fuck doing that. This is live bus bars, 500 amps, chilling out here. See, now I can turn on that 20 amp breaker and I'll have power on just the blue leg, L3, and then down here we got L1 and 2. Now it's wired into this mini split power cable up to this, where lines 1 and 2 come in from this disconnect. Line 3 and ground are hooked up over here. Like I say, I hooked up the ground. So now we just turn on both of those disconnects. Now we've got 3-phase power. Now I can pump it down. You hear the compressor starting to ping now that it's down in vacuum? So now it's all nice and pumped down. I can remove the wiring and set it back the way I found it. So that's back to normal now. I guess really that's L1 because that's L2 and that's L3, but they're all the same. They just happen to have colored tape on them. This isn't a 240 volt panel. This is a 208 panel. 208 volts nominal. Tested voltage is about 212 line to line, 120 to ground. So that's done. So now the line set's been cut and the liquid line's been insulated. And they've also insulated the liquid line on the mini split over here. So we'll have to find a different name for that than the mini split since there's going to be two now. They got the line set cut off of this. They got new lines run up here, insulated. There's our existing thermostat wire where it goes outside. It's a shame they had to rip all this out. Aside from its really inconvenient location, this was a clean setup. Almost. Then there's that ball of putty taped to the bottom of that 45 there. This thermostat has to be taken off the wall and replaced with a mini split thermostat. Right now that box breaks the R down to the thermostat on this unit to turn it off if there's a fire. I don't know how that works with the mini split. Well, I guess we're going to see the process now. These VRFs use this shielded 2-conductor cable, so we have to string some. Is that cool? Got our new communicating wire hanging out right there, waiting, and right there. You do horizontal flow left. You gotta take this apart. You gotta move the pan to the other side. Then you gotta take the blower out and flip it around and put it back in. So now that the blower has been turned 180 degrees and the drain pan's been relocated to the left side and stuff, I'm not gonna put it together. We got 36 dip switches here, as well as 3 little rotary number selectors. 4 of these switches, we got a jumper, 900 unpopulated headers in the boards. Seems all straightforward. We got the drain pan chilling here on the duct jack, air handler set up, ready to go in. New thermostat on the wall, and the hole in the ceiling. The old equipment is just hanging out here. There's our new condenser. So at least they got a matching pair now. The line set and the communication cable and not the electrical because there's an electrician. It's been like a month and this is still heating and cooling at the same time, non-stop, to try to get the humidity down in here. And I guess it worked, but they haven't got the floor put down yet. Exhaust pipes are just cut. Now it's got its pretty duct transitions put on it. The Pookie is still drying, so it's that cool half and half leak lock color. That's pretty cool. Old pimpin' knows his way around some sheet metal, man. So now that they've got that done, I can hook up this line set in here while they've been working on that. Been working on this. Getting this line set to look halfway decent. So there's the line set hooked up to the new non-mini split. It's on 600 psi pressure for its little 2-week test. We're gonna wait for the epoxies to come and reattach the electrical, which they already replaced those wires, so they got to connect them and they're not long enough. These 2 units are identical, so they knew what they were gonna have to do, but I guess they didn't think that far ahead. Putting the turf down, and I'm setting this up. I got this kind of short ladder. That's pretty lame. Running the communication wire. You see S there? On the terminal block, you got M1, M2, and S. S is the shield, like ground. Just below it you have L1, and then L2, and then G. Bro, if they just swapped L1 and G on that terminal block, the grounds would be next to each other. This having the ground for the communication lines right next to the hot, that shit's retarded. Also, it's not hooked to anything. So there's no reason I really need to hook it up. But of course I'm required to. Now we'll look at the green screw there that the electricians left us. That was pretty cool. We gotta add some refrigerant. It all depends on this math. We're running a SM48 with 3/8 liquid line that's 33 feet long, and we're running a 4-ton unit inside, which wants 88 ounces of refrigerant. Based on this math, our total required amount of additional refrigerant that we need to add is negative 62.85 ounces. It doesn't say anything about removing refrigerant, and it has a massive receiver. So I would be really disappointed if there was a possibility of it having too much as soon as we started up without adding any. So I'm not going to do anything to the refrigerant charge. This is the only page in the book about setting the addresses, and it is very unstraightforward. So basically, the address of the outdoor unit is 50 plus however many indoor units you have, and you just set the indoor units to a number between 1 and 50. So for this one, I'm going to set the outdoor unit to 51 and the indoor unit to 1. Address 1, branch box 0, and I left all the rest of the switches alone. Over here at this one loop that I assume is supposed to be the float switch. So I put float switch in the fire thing. That's set on 51. Look at this retardation. Can't get it to sync. It's 111111. You think it's a 4-digit numerical display? Wrong. No, dog. It's this bullshit. And to top it off, they give you a list of 4-digit numerical codes, cuz really? There's oil everywhere? I wonder why that oil's there. Both of the service ports go down. So oil pulls up in this little part and it just shoots out. All the work that went into research and development designing these units, and this is what they come up with. Oil traps on the service ports. How hard would it have been to have them go uphill so the oil runs out of the service port instead of in? The reason I even hooked gauges to it in the first place is because this stupid solenoid here stayed open for like 15 minutes when it first turned on, bypassing refrigerant, and I thought it wouldn't have any in it. But now obviously it's good. I'll leave them hooked up since they're hooked up already. I'm gonna get the room hot and then switch it into cooling mode and try to cool it back down and stuff. But this discharge line's getting nice and hot now. I no longer think it doesn't have any refrigerant in it. We're at 11111 now. It's very helpful. 67. Listen to it, man. That's way more than 60 hertz. 110 degree condensing temperature. Ooh, that's hot. Yeah, we good. Almost like I'm asking it to heat as much as it possibly can, and it's not that cold outside. Yeah, look it, we're sweating. I'll neaten up that conduit and stuff when it's not blowing so cold out here. I don't want to be cold. It's our discharge pressure sitting out. Ooh, yeah, look at us now. Dude, that smells like a sweet, acrid blue smell. I don't like it. Yeah, that's real cool. That's real fucking cool, Lucy. Now that it's nice and warm in there, I'm going to switch it to cooling. Just stare at it for a little while. Holy abomination, burnt face man. There's a chicken flavored cereal bar. So it's running in cooling mode now. Suction line is cold, liquid line is cold, discharge line is hot. That's what our pressures are looking like. Not really a surprise there because, you know, it's kind of cold today. Like 60 degrees or something. Unhook my gauges and friggin' spray oil everywhere because their dumbass design. You see that shit? Really? Good job. It's like misplaced effort. Take way too much effort in places that don't matter, and they ignore things that are important. And that's how you whine about mini splits again.